So, Maddie, what's the topic of your upcoming presentation? Well, the topic of my upcoming presentation is encouraging people to shop in their local communities. All right, so who is the audience that you'll be presenting to? I'll be presenting to an audience of middle-aged adults, hopefully including some parents and younger ones, although we are a majority of retirement aged ones in my community, so a lot of those will be present as well, but the presentation is aimed more towards a middle-aged, kind of younger crowd. Yeah. So what ideas or strategies do you think that you'll present? I would like to present why it's important, how people can contribute, any objections that they may have. I'd like to kind of combat these before they can present objections. I'd like to include how businesses can contribute as well, and why shopping locally is better. All of this would be really important things that I'd like to use. I'd like to use some persuasion strategies, such as possibly the bandwagon, maybe some rhetorical questions, analogies, kind of things like this to get people thinking and more engaged in my presentation as well. What 3 to 5 persuasion techniques will you intend to use? Okay, so I just answered that a little bit, but I'd like to use the bandwagon, maybe the brand new technique, the scapegoat technique, but kind of like in a reverse scapegoat kind of thing, where it's like instead of placing the blame on other people, kind of like telling people that they need to stop placing the blame on other people and start placing the blame on themselves. Maybe nostalgia, because it's local businesses, there's a lot of emotional ties that could be put into that, and rhetorical questions, as I had mentioned before, analogies, things like this. How will your visual presentation support your ideas? So I'm going to have pictures in this presentation that's going to invoke emotion in my local audience, and hopefully it's going to inspire change. It's going to be pretty well solely local pictures, so pictures in my area, in my community, so that people can really relate to what's there. What will you not do on your slides then? I really don't want to have like bullet points. I'd like to kind of have some like short form notes of what I'm trying to capture, but I'm also not going to be relying solely upon this. It's just going to be short point notes, but it's not going to be like bullet points of like one word and I'm going to elaborate on that stuff. It's just going to kind of recap what's being talked about kind of in that picture. Okay, so can you explain how you'll videotape your presentation? What will you use? Who will tape you? Well, I'm planning to just kind of use my tablet or my phone to record my audio, and then I'm going to upload that to YouTube, and that way I'll be able to have a slideshow presentation, and then I'll have the audio that goes with it, so as my teacher reviews, they can look at the presentation as they're listening to mine, and they'll be able to tell what's where, and they'll be able to flip sides accordingly. Do you intend to use just slides and your voice, or will you also be seen in the video? No, I don't really want to be seen in the video. I'd prefer to do it slides and then my voice on separate, and then it can be used that way. All right, do you have a lot finished for this project, or what do you have left to do? Well, I have pretty well everything done at this point, aside from like my final copy and the recording of that, but I've got my slideshow done, I have got my rough draft notes, I've got exactly what I want to say planned out, I've got the pictures laid out, I've got everything the way I want it to be. I just need to record it and submit. Which piece of this assignment was the greatest challenge for you then, and what can you do to get help with that, or what did you do to get help with that? I personally felt that the hardest part was getting the right pictures to represent what I wanted to say, because I was doing my audio and then slides separately, so I found that kind of difficult, but I was able to kind of just really sit there for a while, figure out what I was trying to get across, and figure out what picture would best represent that. All right, thanks for answering my questions. No problem.